Have you ever experienced the opposite of deja vu? Deja vu. Well, this is Vuja Day.
Let me give you a sense of what it's like to experience Vuja Day. And we'll use the matchbook here, and you'll get the sense, you think you see the sleeve come off the matchbook, and you think the matches go in my pocket, but that's just your imagination.
It's not just a trick, it is a series of close-up illusions. Each one is more powerful than the next.
I'll do it in slow motion. You imagine the sleeve coming off the matchbox like that. That's Vuja Day. You think it's happening, but it's not happening. It's just your imagination. You think the matches go, they don't go. They're still in here.
There's a vanish, there's a reappearance, there's a teleportation, and it all ends completely clean.
They're back there. Oh. You know what? Watch. One-handed. I'll put this hand in my pocket. Watch. Just watch the matches. Just like that. Back on there. Make sure it's real.
You don't just see the matches come back, you are going to hear them come back too. So, if you're looking to do an awesome magic trick with an everyday object that you can carry with you at all times, Vuja Day is the trick for you.
How about the opposite of deja vu? Have you guys ever experienced the opposite of deja vu?
What would that be?
Oh, the opposite of deja vu is when you think something has happened, even though it hasn't happened yet.
Probably.
Yes?
No.
So what happened?
I've dreamt things that have happened way years down the line.
Before it really happens?
Yes.
So you feel... I'm going to show you that right now. It's going to be like you're having a dream that this thing is happening, but it's not happening. And it's going to be with these matches right here. Is that weird? Have I creeped you out already?
A little bit, yeah.
All right. So you might get a dream that I'm taking the sleeve of the matchbook off the matches and putting it in my pocket, right? And then you might dream that the matches go in my pocket. But watch.
I never had that dream. I felt pretty focused with that.
You guys are not focusing hard enough. Let me do it again.
Okay.
This time we'll do it piece by piece, okay? Watch. The drawer. It's just your imagination. You watching? You guys are like super focused.
No, I'm really...
Watch.
No, that's
Just your imagination. They're back there.
Oh.
Now watch. One-handed. I'll put this hand in my pocket. Watch. Just watch the matches. Just like that. Back on there.
Okay. When I blink.
Did you blink? Here. Last time. Watch. This time, I'll get rid of the matches, leaving just the book, and listen.
Whoa.
Could you hear them come back?
Yeah.
And look at them.
all right now.
Make sure it's real.
Like, you want me to...
Yeah, make sure it's real.
Everyone wants to light one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Ta-da!
Hello my friends, my name is Rick Lax and welcome to Vuja Day. Thank you so much for purchasing this trick. I think you're going to like it. Before we get going, I'm going to quickly take you through the history of this matchbox trick. So if we look back to Stephen Minch's book, Spectacle, he did a piece on a Dr. Michael Rubenstein who was talking about a trick that he got from some dealer over in Europe. This is going back decades and decades. And he got this gimmick without any instructions, and he asked the dealer for the origins of the trick, and the dealer did not know, but he said that this was old. The story takes place decades ago, so presumably the history of this matchbox goes back even more, decades and decades. And what we've done is we have updated the gimmick, we've added a feature to the gimmick, and we've constructed a whole routine where each phase builds upon the last one, and you end totally clean, as you saw in the trailer. So I think you're going to like it. Let's take a look at how to make the gimmick right now. So here it is. This is the gimmick. It is a matchbox that is both closed and open at the same time. And we're going to learn how to make one of these right now using the following. First, we need a plastic bag or some sort of plastic surface. You can use a wax paper also. We're going to need Elmer's glue, and we are going to need a pair of scissors and then 2 matchbox. So let's begin by gluing the matches. Now, this is an improvement over the old gimmick. The old gimmick could not make the rattling sound like this. And the rattling sound is going to allow you to do this part in the trick where you make the matches disappear. And it's the audio that's going to really sell that. But to make this, we're going to have to make a shell of matches and then put other matches inside under that shell. So we'll begin on a plastic surface by laying out a group of matches, and the width of these matches should be less than the width of the box. So it's going to look about like that. Now, you'll notice the top line of the matches, the heads of the matches, those are staggered. They are not lined up all together. And the reason for that is if they were all lined up together, the matches would not fit. The ends of the matches are thicker than the actual wooden part, and there would be big spaces between the matches. So that's why we want to stagger them just like that. Another thing you can do is throw in an upside down match, which will even out the width of the sides. So that should be the layout. The matches are staggered, and 1 or 2 matches are pointing the opposite direction. And now you're going to take your glue, and Elmer's glue is going to work best because this is going to dry clear, unlike super glue, which could leave a shiny residue. And you are going to glue all of the matches together just like this. And be sure that the glue goes all the way to the edge, just like that. And then you are going to wait for this to dry. And when it does dry, it is going to look like this. So here it is. This is our completed match shell. You can see we've got the cup on the bottom part, and then also we've got this random grouping of matches on the top. And now we're going to glue this into the match drawer here, but before we do it, we are going to add 3 matches to make that rattling sound. Now, if you want the rattle to be even louder, you're going to break off the matches like that, which is going to give them more room to shake around, which will make it louder. The next thing you'll do is to combat this soft surface. You're going to hit it against the table just like that. And then once again, you take the match, you hit it against the table, and that's going to make the edge of the match very flat and hard. It'll make a louder noise, and you hit it against the table. So you've now got 3 matches inside of the shell that will rattle around independently of the shell inside of the matchbox. And now you're going to glue the shell into the matchbox. Now when you do this, you don't need a lot of glue, and the glue can go on the outside edge of the wall. The reason is, you don't want the glue dripping into the inside wall, because if it gets at those rattling matches, they will no longer rattle. So just a little bit of glue on both sides. And then you fit the matchbox on top of the matches, just like that. And then you push up gently, and you make sure everything is on track, and it looks like it is, and you hold it there for just a bit. And you can check at this point to make sure the matches are rattling. We can hear them rattling. That's good. It means it's working. and then you leave this to dry. And when it is done, you're going to have this. All right, the gimmick is in place, the matches are rattling, all is well, and now it is time to add half of the sleeve onto the drawer. So we're going to cut the back of the sleeve. This is the area behind the graphic. And we are going to cut the bottom of the box off. And eventually, this is going to be taped to the matches just like this. So from this side, it will look like a closed matchbook. From this side, an open matchbox. But as you can tell, we are going to have to do trimming of each and every size of this. And you're just going to want to trim it little by little until it gets down to the exact size and shape of the drawer. So it's always best to go little by little, because you can always cut more, but you can never put it back on. So now I might try this out. You can see the edge here on the bottom is still a little long. You can see it a little bit, so I'm just going to give it one last trim here. Just a very tiny sliver. Now we'll check again. And I think that looks good to go. Oh, we've got one corner sticking out there. So one more small trim. And now we'll be good to go. So, at this point, we're going to put the double-sided tape on the back and the side of the drawer. And make sure the tape goes all the way to the edge, just like that. And then another piece for the center that goes all the way right to the edge and folds down. And then on the top, the tape goes right to the edge and folds down. And then one more piece of tape that goes to the edge of the other side, right like that. And then the half flap of the drawer gets stuck on like that. And now you can see from this side, it looks like a closed matchbook, and from this side, an open one. So here it is. This is our gimmick. This is an extra sleeve. And then we've got two more boxes of matches. Now, before we perform the trick, we are going to add matches into our gimmick book. And we're going to add as many as we can such that we can still close the drawer. And when you do close the drawer, the white edge of the match drawer should be facing forward. So you can see here, the label is facing the spectator, and when you open it up, the white edge of the box is facing the spectator. Now there you can see it's a little tight, and it's going to be hard for me to push that open at the start of the trick. So maybe I'll take just one or two matches out of here, and then we'll try again. We'll fit that in. That's good. And the gimmick is going to begin in your right pocket, and then you've got an extra full book of matches that will begin in your left pocket. So for the purpose of instruction, we'll just say my right pocket is over here, and my left pocket is over here, and now we can get going with the routine. As we begin the routine, sometimes I will hand the gimmick out to the spectator before I begin. I'll say, just hold on to this. And they're not going to open it because they don't know what's happening. I say, just hold on to this for a second, and then I start talking about deja vu. If they do start opening it, which doesn't happen, but if they do, I just take it back from them, or I say, hold on a sec, it isn't a problem. So they're holding on to the gimmick, which is great because it's this diabolical thing that they feel you're being so free with that they won't imagine that it is a trick matchbox, or else why would you hand it out? And I start talking about deja vu. I say, have you ever had deja vu? What about the opposite of deja vu? Vuja day. And that's when you think something has happened, but it hasn't really happened yet. And then, if they want to talk about this, I'm going to talk about it with them. A lot of times magicians, they will just go on to the trick, just making it clear that all of this patter was that patter. But I like people to really think that I'm into what they have to say, and that's because I am. Sometimes they're going to have good stories about deja vu or Vuja day, and I don't want to miss that moment. Because if they've had an experience with this, when the trick is over, they're going to connect with it so much stronger. So don't be in a rush to get to the trick. Have the conversation about deja vu, and then move forward. When you do move forward, you're going to say, well, let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me illustrate Vuja Day for you. So you take the gimmicked matchbox back from the spectators. Remember, this one's in the left pocket. And you're going to put it in the left hand such that the label is facing towards you. The top is towards you. If it was this way, it would be towards you like this. This way, it's also towards you in your left hand. You're going to close your hand, use your index finger to push out the matchbox and take it out, and then toss the sleeve. Now, the reason is because later on in the trick, when you do this with the gimmick, it's going to need to look like that. I know it seems like a weird way to open a matchbox, which it is, but this is called conditioning. Because later on in the trick, we are going to have to open up the matchbook in this weird way. So when we get going for the first time, we want to open it up in the same weird way so it matches. Now, after we get it open, I toss the sleeve up like that, and I say, you're going to think you're experiencing me putting the matchbox sleeve in my pocket. And this goes in my left pocket along with the extra one. And the sleeve is going to go closer to my body. And that's just saving up for later in the trick. So this is the inside of my pocket. This sleeve goes closer to me, between me and the full matchbox. And I've got this here. This is in my right hand. And I'm going to dump the matches into my left hand as I cover the bottom of the box. Just like this. And now you can see I'm keeping this covered because if they were to see this side or this side, they would see it's a gimmick. So I wrap my hands around it, the matches go here, and I say these go in my pocket too. And then I bring this hand out, I show it empty, and at this point, I don't have to do any move or anything. I just set the matchbox in my hands like this, and I say, but you only think you experienced it, or something like that. Then one last time, I look back in my pocket to remind them that's where the sleeve and that's where the matches went, and then I show that the matchbox has returned in full, and I give it a little shake. That's the first phase. Now let's go on to the second. All right, it is time for the second phase. It is going to look like the first phase, but it's going to be different. Now, in the first phase, you really had that extra match sleeve on top of the matchbox. Now you've just got the gimmick. So you are going to mimic like you are taking the sleeve off by opening it up in the exact same way, except this time you start out with the matches facing the spectator like this, and I'll show you in slow motion, and I'll expose the secret. Your hand wraps around just like that, and now you are pretending to push the matches out of the match sleeve, but of course you don't have a sleeve. You're just going through the motions just like that, and then you show that the sleeve is gone. So let me do that one more time. The matches are here. The matches are here. You rotate towards yourself as you grab with your left hand, and again, I'm exposing it here. And then you push them out. You act like you're removing them from the sleeve, and then you show the sleeve is gone. Now, before you show the sleeve is gone, the longer you wait, the better. That's time misdirection. In other words, I would not want to do it like this. I wouldn't want to say the sleeve is gone. That's bad magic, because then they might connect that the sleeve is connected somehow to the matches. So what I'll instead do is I'll wait. I'll take the sleeve off, like that. I might even set those down, and I wait a minute, so it's disconnected now from this. And then I might even rub it into the table, and I'm waiting longer and longer to show that sleeve gone. And by the time I do show it gone, they forgot that I have even handled the drawer with the matches on it. So that is time misdirection. Also, if you get space misdirection, that is good too. So that's the first part of the second phase. Next up, we're going to make the matches disappear. You can hear them rattle, and now, like before, we're going to dump the matches out, except for this time, there's no more matches left in the box. So as soon as we do the dump, we're going to have to close our hand like the matches are in there, and then again show them empty. Again, you want time misdirection. You want space misdirection. You don't want to show the matches and then show that they're gone. That's too fast. That'll connect back to the box. So you casually rattle the matches, you go here, and then once again, time misdirection, space misdirection, and you show that the matches are gone. Now, as you're doing this, all the attention will be on your left hand. And that means you can rotate your right hand back forward such that immediately after the matches are gone, you can say, look, they've come back. What you don't want to do is rotate the matches back as the spectator is looking, because then they will see that they are glued inside of the match box. So again, you rattle them, you show that they're gone, and as you're misdirecting, this hand rotates back, and then you indicate that the matches have reappeared. Now, I say I'm going to make the box come back, but this time I'm going to do it one-handed. So I'll take this hand out of the way. And what I'm really doing, that's just an excuse for me to pick up the full matchbox. Because I want the trick to end with everything fully examinable, which means I'm going to have to swap in the full matchbox, which means I need an excuse to go back into my hand. This is the magician's process. How can we get this out? What's the excuse? Well, let's say we're doing it one-handed. So, I take the box, I say one-handed, I show my hand empty like this, and then I grip the matchbox with my thumb facing forward, my middle finger on the back, my first finger down, and this is when I secretly get that full matchbox ready to go, and all I'm going to do is flip the matchbox forward just like that. Now I did that super slow, that would give things away, but I just want to once again show you the move, how simple it is. Your thumb is on top, your middle finger's in back, first finger there, and it just gets rotated over. But of course in magic, the big move always covers the small move. In this case, the small move is that. So the big move is going to be shaking my hand side to side as I do the small move just like that. And now I don't do it on the first shake like that. I give it one or two real shakes, and then as the big move happens, I turn it over. So once again, looks like this. So the whole sequence, I dump the matches out, I show the matches are gone, and they've reappeared. Now I say I'm going to do this one-handed. I make that gesture with my right hand, which allows me to re-grip the matchbox in the position I want. I say I'm going to take this hand, put it in my pocket. I'm gripping the full matchbooks, getting ready for the next phase, and then I do the switch just like that. And I pause here. And now we're ready for the last phase of the trick. The gimmick is in my right hand with the matches down. The full regular matchbox is in my left hand like this. And now once again I'm going to simulate that move of taking the matches out of the box, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did before where I secretly rotate like this and push the matches up. The only difference is this time I also have a full matchbox in my left hand. And when you do this move, be sure not to tilt the matches forward before your hand is covering. If I was doing it in slow motion as I really do it, the hand covers before the matches get tilted up. And that way they're facing the right direction, but the spectator never has a chance to see them. Just like that. And the only difference this time is you are adding the full box of matches here. So this time it looks like this. And now I've actually got two matchboxes in my hand. And I'm going to pretend once again that I'm poking the box out from its shell. And now I'm left with what they think is the sleeve of the matchbox, but is actually a full matchbox. I say this time I'm going to put the matches in my pocket, and I don't even acknowledge the fact that I don't go through the step of taking the matches out. I just say this time that's going to happen. And now I've got the gimmick back in my pocket, and I've got a full box of matches in my hand. And the last step is just convincing people that they are experiencing the matches come back. Now the matches, you can see, they're in there already. So all I have to do is shake little by little and more and tell them you're actually going to hear the matches come back. I just sell that lie. Also as I shake, I start out with the box vertical, and I'm going to end with it horizontal. And that's going to increase the volume. Also, I'm going to increase the vigorousness of my shaking. So I'll be left with this. I'm shaking very quietly with the box vertical, and then more intense, and it goes horizontal, and then you can hear the moment they come back. And after they do come back, I'm going to open the matches up, and I'm going to give them to the spectator. I'm going to give them to the spectator that I gave those matches to in the beginning, and that way, everyone will be left with this nice mental image of the trick started out with the spectator holding the box of matches. The trick ends with the spectator holding the box of matches, and I am left totally clean. Everything is examinable. This is the gimmick. It goes in my right pocket. This is the regular matchbox. Goes in my left pocket. I begin by handing out the gimmick. I talk about deja vu and I talk about Vuja day. I take it back, and you can see this is facing the spectator, the label, and it is face down. I poke my finger here as I turn around, and then I toss the sleeve, and I put it in my left pocket, closer to my body than the full matchbox. Now, I indicate the matches. I dump them out like this. The matches also go in my pocket. The gimmick just gets placed on my hand, and I slowly move my hand away, showing that the matches are back. And I give it a little shake so they can hear too. Next, the whole sequence is repeated, except for this time, we rotate around like this. We only pretend to take the sleeve off. We wait time misdirection and space misdirection as we make that sleeve disappear. I give the matches a shake. I pretend to dump them in my hand. There's the space misdirection, the time misdirection. I show that the matches are gone and that they've reappeared. And now I say I'm going to do this one-handed. I re-grip the box in position. I say I'll take this hand out of the picture. I secretly grab the full box of matches, and I change the matches back into the matchbox. Now I say this is the last time. One more time I do the move. Now I've got 2 matchboxes in my hand. This time I take the gimmick out, I put it in my right pocket, and then I say you can hear the matches come back, and I go from slow shaking to fast shaking. The box goes from vertical to horizontal, and I say they've come back. I give them out to the spectator to examine. If you're still watching the video at this point, it means that you are a good magician, so congratulations on not just hearing the secret and running out and performing. I appreciate that. I'll give you one last tip. While you can make this trick out of any matchbox, the Diamond brand is a good one because they're very tall. Some of the slicker places you go, they have thin, narrow matchbox, and that won't allow you to make that nice match cup. So this is a good brand to do it with. I've got some people to thank. I want to thank my friend Justin Flom and Shimshi and Bizarro and Greg Dow. They all helped me routine this trick, and I'm very appreciative to all of them. And also, I want to end by thanking you for buying this trick. I really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting the work that I do at Penguin Magic. I'm so appreciative. Thank you to Brendan, Brandon, and Jamie, Mandy, everyone who is Sean out here on this shoot. And if you do like this, then guess what? This is my only trick at Penguin Magic. There's other great tricks like binary code and chi card, because if you liked this trick or if you liked this routine, you might like those also. So thank you. Oh, and if you liked the trick, it would be awesome if you could leave a review. And if you didn't like the trick, then let's just give the bad review to something Bizarro did, because his stuff is so good it can withstand the bad reviews.